You're my special friend.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Special Friends Podcast. It's your boy Wuzi, and I'm here with
Earoke.
and we're back again for another weekly installment.
Right. Weekly installment.
How's it feel? It's a lot. Adjustments are being made.
Yeah, but it's good, you know. It's fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's only still pretty early, but how do you feel about the flow of doing a weekly?
I want more.
You want more? He's like, I want to do 2 a week.
Yeah.
I think about that though. There's some people who really do like 2. Like I think the Rory and Mal podcast, they do 2 or 3 a week. I think Joe Budden does 2 a week.
You just gotta lock in, stay in the pocket, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the content matter they talk about really
that's true.
helps because there's being in the entertainment industry and the music stuff is happening constantly. So trying to wait a week on that, I could see that being a challenge because then you're just so late. And we've seen like Hot New Hip Hop. Have you ever been on Hot New Hip Hop?
I see it pop up sometimes, but I don't follow them like that.
If you ever go to their like new page, bro, they're pumping out articles
like
left and right. Yes, there's always something happening. There's always an update to a situation. There's always like, you know, like the Drake thing. Like Drake pulls his petition, and then a few hours later, Drake files a suit, and then in the suit, the breakdown, and then people respond to the suit. It's like, damn. So it makes sense why their cycle is that way.
Yeah.
I could imagine doing that. Listen, I could do 2 videos a week, but not 2 of the same. Like doing 2 of the same podcast a week. I don't know how I feel about that. At least at this time in life, I'd rather take that time and do another video.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I could do that. That's easy.
Record 4 times a week for something.
Maybe one day, right?
Next month.
Next month. I mean, it's getting kind of close, so you know he might be onto something.
We'll see where life is.
Yeah, let's see where life is at for sure. But again, thank you for coming. We're here.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Did you make that? How does it feel? What was the week like?
My week was interesting. I spent a lot of time with myself.
Good.
I was stranded. Thanks for the ride this morning.
Yeah.
No, I was in my head a lot this week, and it caused me to have like a lot of anxiety and feeling a little overwhelmed with a few things I have going on. And today I realized why, and I'm just like, you gotta do better. Like you can't let that, you know. Yeah, but overall, it was still like a decent week because I still got things done that I need to get done. It just wasn't the things I wanted to get done.
Got it.
You know, in that sense.
Do you feel like you said the things you didn't get done is it because it was like you were in your own way or what happened?
I feel like I was in my own way. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. Overthinking things. You know how I am. I make things complicated.
I mean, don't we all, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Some of it was just like kind of like laziness. Some of it was just procrastination. But at least I got the like, I guess for me this week, I got more business side done than like creative stuff done. And I wanted to have like a balance between 2, but the balance never came, which like I said, I got things done. But it still was a good time to just focus on other things, kind of be more present as well. And force myself to be present because that's hard for me too. But overall, it was a good week because I still got things done. I was able to like I said, spend more time with myself and kind of reflect. Especially we're still at the start of the year, so I'm able to like adjust to like how I started the year already because we're going into like the 3rd week to like, okay, where are we now and what is reality? Because you was big dreaming 12 days ago.
Last podcast, you said, I'm dreaming again. Now you're here talking about, you know, that was last week's dream.
Right.
This is reality. We brought it down.
Right. So I still have my dreams, but I'm like being more practical about it. So it was a good week for reflection and kind of just giving myself grace too in some areas. But Overall, I made it here.
Yeah,
Happy to be here.
that's good.
Yeah.
What I do want to talk to it really quickly about the procrastination thing because I do, and I mean we can the procrastination part, but also the getting in your way part.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like especially around this time, I don't know if you hear, I can't remember the exact date, but there's a date that they have found
Like
is
scientifically, like something on like that's where people drop off, or
like once they like people who make resolutions, there's a certain date where it's like by this time people have gave up on the resolutions. And I say that's what happened to you, but I'm saying like there's something about that part of like kind of getting our own way and not pushing through the tough part. Like this is a change.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Getting up at 4:00 in the morning was cool the first week, but that second week when you didn't get that enough sleep, you supposed to sleep at 9, went to sleep at midnight. Now you're gonna get 4 hours. You know what I mean? It's like, do I really want to get up at 4:00 in the morning and work out? For some people, yeah, and other people are like, nah, bro, I'm giving up on it. So I do want you to speak, or not even speak to. I just want to. I think it'd be an interesting conversation to really explore that topic of. I kind of get our own way because I think we can all relate to it.
I think for me in this situation in particular, I got in a mindset of like comparison, and it wasn't even comparison like, oh, they're doing this, like I should be doing this. It was more like the opposite. It was like, well, they're not doing this. I have more time, or I can also relax and this and that. And I think it was yesterday. I was like, girl, what do they got to do with you? Just because they're operating in this, whatever, that might be for them, but that's not for you in this season. So it was more so that some of it was like procrastinating, like, oh, I'd rather do this right now because they're doing this right now. And they seem happy and thriving, like, so it was just, I think that was some of what worked inside this past week
That
for me.
comparison thing.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And the reason too, I just love the phrasing I'm in my own way because me and my cousin got this thing that we've been talking about. This is phrase that we use that a YouTuber, Sinful the P, used to say. And well, he was more than a YouTuber, but he would say, it could all be over tomorrow. You in your own way. It was up to you. It could all be over tomorrow. And we always say that to each other, like if we find ourselves complaining about something, it's like it'll all be over tomorrow. All you gotta do is make that change. So it's really interesting when you bring that up, like the comparison part. Instead of just doing what's best for you, I think about that notion like it could all be over tomorrow if we really just focused and did what we're supposed to be doing, or we know. That's the coolest thing about people being a human. We know what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I think about the Google searches. What's the secret to getting 6-pack abs? What's the secret to growing to 100,000 followers? What's the secret? There got to be a secret. But some of the older motivational people, they're starting to get to the point like, you guys already know. There's no real different thing. Everybody has an iteration of how they do it, but there's no different thing on how to do it. You really just gotta lock in.
Yeah.
You gotta, to get 6-pack abs, you gotta eat less, work out more,
And be consistent.
Yeah, exact inconsistency. That's the 2-3 things. Like there's no secret like pill or anything like that. It's like, no, dog, you just got to do them things, and whatever motivates you to do them things, you got to make that the thing.
Yeah.
Is that good? Do you need good food? Do you need a workout buddy? What does it look like? Whatever you can figure out to do those things, that's what you got to do. So I really just enjoy that you brought that up, because I think about me getting in my own way, especially I relate to you in the creative part. It's easy for me to do client work. It's very, very hard for me to do my own creative work.
And that's why I'm afraid to take on clients, because I'm just like, I'm not even showing up for myself right now. I'm really not going to show up for myself if I'm taking on something for money. So, yeah.
But I mean, the nature of it, it's a tool and we do need it. I can't do what I do creatively if I can't finance my life.
Yeah. And it can work out some of your skills too. Like, it has some of your skills. introduce you to new tools and ways of producing content and whatever else you're working on. So,
Well, I want to take it back to like, so you say you realized that. What helped you realize like, okay, I'm living my life a little?
I don't know. I was just walking over to my desk. Oh, I have something written on my whiteboard. I have like, so I have two whiteboards in my room. One, I write down things I feel God told me, and I write the date next to it of the thing He told me. And in my other whiteboard, I have like literally like sticky notes, random rips of paper that I feel like God also was speaking to me, but it's just like, I don't know, it just has a different vibe, so I put it separately. And one of them was something, it basically just says like, take care of that's what it says, take care of the life you have, bro. And I looked at that, and that's what made me have the thought.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That's really good, because
Yeah.
we do compare, assume what everybody else is doing is what I should be doing. Dang, my friends hang out all the time and they still get their schoolwork done and stuff like that. So I should be able to hang out all the time and get the things I need to get done. Nah, bro.
We are not the same. We are Martians.
No, we're not the same. Yeah, that's really good, because, and I just wanted to get to that part, like what how you saw that shift, because I think that's such an interesting way, right?
Yeah.
How important having something like that could be.
To have things written down and in your scope of like visual.
Not in a journal where the journal's in the bottom drawer that you never look at, and then you open it up January 2026. Oh yeah, motivated again for 7 days, and then you close it, put it back in there, forget about it.
I watched Neighborhood recently. Have you heard of that show? It's with
Well, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, I think you would like it since you like sitcoms. I think that's one you would like. But one of the characters on there, he found his old like notebook that he was writing like his bucket list or whatever in, and he has like a page of like 26 things he's going to do before he's 40. At this point, he's 42. So he goes through the list, and he's just like, he's telling his wife's name is Gemma. I love that name. He's like, Gemma, I have not completed any of this. And so he goes into like this midlife crisis spiral. And she was just reading through it. She was like, trying to support him as a wife. Like, you could tell in her mind, she's like, this is foolishness. Like, some of this stuff is just ridiculous. And then, but she was like, trying to be supportive and stuff. So one of the things was like, he wants to eat like every part of a cow, like every like part of a cow. She was like, let's go get burgers. She was like, see, we could find like, the small things, whatever. But it reminds me of that, of like writing something down, put it in a way. But it can also work, because I remember my mom going through my stuff after I moved out, and she found one of my journals, and she was like, yeah, I was reading it, and I looked at like your goals from like 2016, 2015, and you done all these things. I just want to let you know you did everything. And I was just like, thanks, but why are you reading my stuff?
I mean,
like, but it is good to have something visually there in front of your face every day.
I definitely agree. I think writing it down, I've said this multiple times as someone who's been journaling for, I want to say a long time now. It's almost, February will be a decade. I've been journaling for 10 years. 18 years old when I picked up my first journal. That's how long ago. I remember that day like it was yesterday too. I thought I was going to change my life, and I did. But anyways, I feel like journaling, writing down goals, writing down just thoughts in general, writing down, and not only just writing it down, but going, like you said, going back and reflecting and reading on that stuff has just made such a difference. Because not only it's the reflection part, because even if you didn't meet those goals, you can reflect on kind of like how the conversation we had yesterday. Why didn't I meet these goals this year? I always make my goals high. So like I've achieved some of my goals, but there's a few goals where I'm like, what was I thinking? Who did I think I was?
Yeah, because you look back like, what mindset and like what spirit was I in when I wrote these down? Like, and you also think about like, I'm not that person anymore too sometimes. And when I look back at things, because I looked at my goals from that I wrote from 2022, 2023, 2024, and some of them were all in alignment, but just like, but how long does it take you? If this is still the person you are, and this is still like a desire you have for yourself, like why haven't you even? I mean, I'm sure I've made progress in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form, but I haven't reached like a significant milestone. And so it just seems like that when I try to like reflect and evaluate, well, what is the core, like the core reason why these are not being met. So sometimes it can be hard, but
So
it's
with
also
that-
being real.
Yeah, with that, do you tweak the goal or
This
do you tweak the action?
I feel like 2024 taught me how to tweak both. Like, of course, you're supposed to like chop your goals up to like smaller pieces and milestones and stuff. I think I knew that, but I wasn't doing it. I was just like, yeah, that's how you set goals, blah, blah, blah. But like putting that to action, but also tweaking my action to and pursuing that goal. It's the biggest thing I shifted last year. Changing my mindset was a huge factor too of like approaching goals. And because sometimes I can get stuck in like, well, they did it this way, kind of like how you said already, like they did it this way, so this is the way I should do it. So I think in 2024 I really did learn like just because that worked for them, it doesn't mean it works for me, and I need to find an approach that worked for me. So that was my big takeaway in my goals, and like reflecting on the 2024 ones was like, I feel like now I know what could possibly work for me and how to go about it, and like what are like practical actions I can take. So I feel like both could be applied, and for me, I applied both.
I gotta take a lesson from you because I never changed the practicality of my goals.
Really?
I need.
I'm gonna
to.
send you a video that really opened my eyes.
I feel like every time I reflect on goals, I always reflect on the actions. Even then, like even on some of the more impractical goals, I always break down why is it impractical? What makes it impractical? I'm not talking about the thing where it's like I'm gonna buy a house in 2 years. Like even though I don't feel like that's impractical either, I feel like that's more improbable. Like I mean, you in debt, nigga. So you know what I mean? Like you don't make that much money. So it's like where you going? Where's that shift happen?
Yeah.
But when I reflect on a lot of my goals, I always think about the action, like you said, mindset. If this was a goal, what did you follow this goal up with to really make this plausible? Because I think about something like this. We'll say this goal for this year is to post a podcast weekly. My personal life look like. A lot of people that know me who watch this podcast know my personal life look like.
Yeah.
Recording a podcast, editing a podcast, and setting up the topic meeting for a podcast on top of what I've already do sounds like a lot. But I also know what my life is, and I know a lot. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. What was I saying?
You were saying,
Sorry, I threw you off.
like you were providing an example of the goal of posting weekly.
Got it. Yeah.
Your life.
Yeah, so like people can see me doing that as maybe might see that as impractical. Bro, look at your life. But to me, I don't see that from like, I need to make my goal more practical. I need to, why is my life in such a way where I couldn't do something? If I feel like this is important, right? Why can I not make something like this happen? What are things that are in the way of that? And how can I shift that?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I'm at. Where like, we've had conversations, and I don't even share them on here. Like, I feel like a lot of my life, I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into other things that don't necessarily benefit me or don't necessarily align in any way of my values.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So when you apply that to setting goals and achieving goals, why am I allowing things that don't necessarily align with how I live my life get in the way of that?
Yeah.
And that's how I always review my goals. And very rarely, I mean, like I think the most in quote unquote impractical goal I had was at 18 saying I'm going to own a property before the age of 25. But it wasn't impractical because I was at the point where I was like at 21, 22, I was like talking to a realtor, had a sizable down payment and was beginning the process of like, how much more money do I need to do such a thing? And so I was going to do it. But the impractical part in that sense was, what was, like you said, the just where I was at that time, why was this important to me in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why was me getting a home more important than me finding a career that I enjoyed, more important than me getting married, more important than building a relationship with my dad? Like, that was the thing that really like shifted as far as like the goal part, but it was never the impracticality about it. It was more like the mindset, like, okay, like you was going to achieve it, but at the same time, it was like,
yeah,
why'd you even like you said, why was that a goal in the first place?
yeah.
And, just putting values on top of other stuff. So
Always start with your values, kids. Make sure you're aligned.
Simon Sinek,
But first,
start with why.
Know your values. That's where you start.
Start with why, y'all.
Not your societal values, not your family values.
That's so funny.
Your personal values.
Yeah. But thank you for sharing that too. I mean, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I had a good week too. Again, getting used to the editing was cool, but I don't know. I like, same thing with like working out. I don't like when workouts are easy.
Mm-hmm.
I want that workout that's going, shout out to Malik. I remember we used to do Insanity, and Insanity used to be, the first week is terrible, but I remember we used to have a lot of fun. And working out, I don't want to do the little 5-minute on the treadmill, the 10-minute. I want to do the 30-minute on the treadmill, because something about pushing past, the first 2 minutes, you're like, okay. And then you start getting to that 5-minute mark. You're like, oh gosh. But for me, once I get past the 10-minute part, I'm like, it's just like, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. Something about that creates like a euphoric feeling for me. Like, we're here. Lock in. We got 20 more minutes. It's all right.
That's how I feel about hiking. Like, even though I hate it, I don't hate hiking, but I hate like being pushed. It's just like sometimes I really, really, really sought after like that pain and like all that sweat and like the breathing heavy, because it makes me feel empowered when I'm like, dang, I went all the way up there. I went through this, I did that, I saw all these beautiful, like, I don't know, it boosts like my confidence, even though in the thick of it I'm like, why did I say I was gonna go hiking today? Like,
for real. Like you said, like this morning, waking up like, man, I don't want to get up today.
Yeah.
But we do not, shout out to Kobe Bryant, we do not like negotiate. That's something I got from Kobe. But like, especially when you have a goal, don't negotiate. If I'm going to the gym at 4:00, don't be like, oh well, I went to sleep late and I didn't really eat well. And
So you.
Yeah. Why are we negotiating? No, get up.
Yeah.
Because now it's going to you're gonna make yourself like, okay, I'm getting up regardless. So let me make sure everything else is in place so I can do what I need to do on that day. And yeah, I don't know, I'm excited. That happened, and then yeah, this shot's this week. Looking forward to the next week. Looking forward to many more. But yeah, I'm excited. That's one of the biggest things. I'm gonna start doing Skillshare. We're not sponsored, but I think I'm gonna guess. I haven't had a Skillshare membership since 2016.
Okay.
No, I lied. I apologize. Like 2018, I was taking a photography class on there. And I was just really like, we're going through some old emails and stuff like that. I was like, oh, Skillshare.
I thought when you said I'm gonna do Skillshare, I thought you were gonna be teaching.
Oh,
and I was
maybe
like,
one day.
I was like, okay, we eye to eye.
Maybe one day. I'm not there yet. I don't know what course I would teach.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I mean, I have 3 that I'm considering, but I just don't know which one I want to like commit to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Might as well try it.
Yeah. So what do you think about taking? What do you think about taking?
Just growing in career. Video stuff. Really, invest in myself by, if I'm gonna get a subscription platform, you know, I was telling you I was thinking about getting Netflix. You know, always got to bring it back to productivity. I'm like, why get a Netflix membership when I can go get me a Skillshare membership and watch and learn something that I'm growing in, which is the video stuff, podcasting, you know, storytelling. I think those will be really interesting classes to take. So yeah, looking really excited, happy about this week. But what the hell? Let's get into some topics.
Before we move forward,
Go ahead.
have you heard of the book "The Mountain Is You"?
Have I heard of the book? Who's the writer?
I don't know.
The Mountain Is You.
Yeah, so the year before last, my coworker told me about the book, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, I think you really like it. Like, it has shifted so much for me. Like, once I started reading it or whatever." So I have it on Audible, but it's just been sitting in my Audible library. So my goal this year is to read it finally. But it talks basically what we're talking about, like getting out your own way.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I read it and get something out of it, it will help support what I'm working towards, just getting out of my own way.
Got it.
So if any of y'all have watched it, or not watched it, listened to it or read it, let me know in the comments what y'all got out of it. And let me know if you want to hear what I get out of it once I read the book. The Mountain Is You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mountain Is You. Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. We got a few things to talk about. I think the biggest thing to talk about to get it out the way, our favorite app is getting banned tomorrow. We're recording this on the 18th. Tomorrow's the 19th, and that's the last day for TikTok. And we've heard a lot of things have changed since we first started researching this.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing I had read was that those who have the app will still have some functionality to it.
Right.
I have now been told that functionality would not be working even if you still have the app.
So many
which
things
burnt me up.
Switched up in 48 hours. Like,
I don't know how I feel.
yeah, I mean, okay, so there's been a lot of different takes on this, but I'm just talk from like the more lighthearted side of it. So one of the takes I saw was like in the last 3 weeks where people start really recognizing like this may not be accessible to us anymore. They said they feel like people's creativity boosted again. Like they got out of their like comfort zone. So there's like been more funnier videos being made and all the things, like people are like really in a bag these last 3 weeks. And I was listening to them and I was like, that's true. I have been like, TikTok has always been entertaining, but I have been seeing like more creators and more, I guess, average posters really like bringing something to the stage. And I'm just like, hey, y'all waited the last 3 weeks to like, it kind of felt nostalgic because it felt like how I felt when I first joined TikTok. Like everything was just like back to back to back, just like super thought out, creative posting. I've been enjoying the yearbooks. I don't know if have you seen any of the yearbooks? So people would do like a yearbook post, and then everyone in the comments would write what they would write in their TikTok yearbook.
Got it.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying those, but it's still sad.
Yeah.
It's like we're doing this for a reason because we're not about to have this no more.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying like the funeral planning. They've been having like people who are gonna do like the sermon, who's gonna do like a selection with the choir, who's gonna do the prayer. Like that's been fun seeing people collaborate and like plan the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like this is all fun and games, but like no, we not like it's not gonna be here tomorrow. But yeah, that's been a fun part of it, but it's still hard to accept because so much. I feel like I learned so much on TikTok, and also like I got so much motivation from TikTok. A lot of my special interests I saw other people, engage with on TikTok, knowing I'm not alone.
Well, before you get into that, like I think it'd be dope to talk about like what was your first, like at what point did you really get on? Because remember TikTok had a stigma.
Okay.
When was the point where you got on TikTok? You're like, you know what?
So it really didn't have a stigma. So I used to work with youth between the ages of like 12 and like 21, and they were on Musically before it was TikTok.
I remember Musically,
and I was just like, I used to get annoyed because I used to run a center, so they would come after school, whatever. And so that's all I hear, and they all just dancing, doing this lip singing, whatever. And And I was just like, y'all first off supposed to be doing your homework. Secondly, I don't want to keep hearing the same song that y'all trying to catch the lip sync to over and over again. So I was just like, I just wasn't for it. So when I heard that it switched to TikTok, I was like, oh, that's just the same thing those kids been on, whatever. It's not for me, obviously. This is for that generation. It wasn't until I started my business when I downloaded TikTok, because I heard that it had a lot of like business information, tools, resources, and stuff like that. So for like a good year and a half, my algorithm was just all small business, all what grants can you get, what kind of funding can you get, how do you get credit on your business and all that stuff. That's literally all my algorithm was. So I was just like, I don't feel too bad because I'm like educating myself and it's like helping me develop my business strategies or whatever. Now, when things started shifting, I think it was just deeper into like 2021 or something, or 2020, because we're all in the house, stuck, all bored in the house, bored in the house.
That bored in the house, bored.
So that's what like of course, by then more and more people were getting on it. That wasn't just of that generation. It wasn't just business owners. It was just like people just going there because they bored and they just want to create something. So I guess it was around that time, like 2021, where I actually started engaging in it as more as like entertainment. And I was just like, well, I guess all of us doing this. I seen every color, every age, every gender. I was just like, I guess this isn't that bad, and that's when I just like became addicted.
It's funny too, just to really think about that shift, because I vividly remember when TikTok was first, like when people were getting big on TikTok, like talking about Charlie D'Amelio taking over TikTok era. People were like, parents were staunchly against TikTok. And now we're pulled a full 180, like, please, my favorite app. Like,
Generation.
You talking about my freedom of speech, my creativity. Like, we there was a point where TikTok was like, man, TikTok needs to be banned.
Right.
And it's addicting. It's causing addictions. Now we're at the point like, listen.
Hear me out.
Relax. This is before I got to new TikTok. I didn't know TikTok at that point. We got a STEM page now. We're good.
Right.
The TikTok shop. I've been getting all my food on there. I've been ordering crab boils. It's funny because like I remember when I first got on TikTok, and while I'm doing this, I'm gonna look up like I'm gonna see if I can find my first like on TikTok. Okay. I'm gonna take the time and see if I can find that. But I remember 2020.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Wuzi. If you're enjoying this video so far, please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out so much and lets us know what videos you like so we can create more content like it. So if you can go down below, like the video, hit that red subscribe button, I'll really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the video.
As we go on, we remember all the times we
What you call it say?
been together.
How Anthony say it? That 7-day vintage special.
Oh.
Yeah. We gotta have Anthony back on here. He's our honorary third guest.
Reoccurring.
Sorry about that, y'all. I had to take a phone call real quick. On the side, I'm also just slinging these videos to see if I get to the first video. Slinging these videos, see if I can go back to my first like video while I'm talking. Hope it's not distracting. But yeah, when I think about my first introduction to TikTok, I think about Twitch first, because in I think I was on TikTok in 2018, but I don't really remember it. I think I was always the early adopter of Instagram and Snapchat. I was on that heavy. But when I had got into Twitch, I really had to dive deeper into just sharing your videos on as many platforms as possible. So, that was Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at the time as well. And Snapchat was an option. I mean, it was an option, but I wasn't doing it. TikTok is a mess. But I mean, Snapchat was a mess. So I feel like my first time getting on TikTok was finally getting to that point where it's like, okay, I gotta post on all platforms if I'm gonna be serious about this.
Serious.
So I feel like I was, yeah, it's definitely that time, because I remember I started to follow some other people who were posting videos on there and watching that stuff blow up. So I was posting like the old, damn, that's such a time. I'm like trying to grasp the thought that I was thinking at the time. I just saw TikTok really as like a business thing. Like, okay, everybody's on this thing, even though I don't really want to be on it, even though it's kind of distracting. I'm gonna get on this app and I'm gonna start posting, because what you're gonna do if you're gonna be serious. Like, I'm not gonna blow up as a Twitch guy if I don't do this. And what happened?
I thought I had stopped.
No. And I just slowly started to care about it. I think about early people I saw at the time was Teriyaki Poppy, which he came back around, and man, like, what a goat. Him. Who else was there? Obviously, all the dancing. It was a pandemic, so we watched a lot of dancing videos. Did a lot of the. I never really posted any of them. I actually got them in the drafts, and I'm still not gonna post them. Sorry, I don't care if the app is closing tomorrow. I refuse to expose. I told you I don't have rhythm. What's that? What's the one?
A little rhythm. Certain moves.
My threshold as a black man of rhythm I should have is not there. I'm deficient.
So. Okay.
I'm rhythm deficient. I'm rhythm deficient. I'm deficient in rhythm and vitamin D. So yeah, I just remember vividly going on the app and really just enjoying the creativity at the time, the unhinged behavior. As someone who wasn't really on Twitter, was kind of getting kind of crazy at the time, because I was on Twitter before all this. Twitter was kind of getting crazy at the time, so TikTok was like that fill-in for that. And I think that unhinged takes, the stitching of videos, the think pieces. I think back to, I don't know if y'all remember that long-haired white girl. What was it? She did something in the field of like mental health or like something like that. And she would make these videos like giving these facts about, what was her name? See, I got to do some. I'll talk about it next time when this is all bad. I'm sorry, y'all, but like, I can't remember this person's name. I just remember the person, but she'll give like these facts. She always does like what she do it in front of the mirror or something like that. Like she'll record it like this, like in front of the mirror. And I feel like I'm all over the place. But basically, I just remember the creativity of TikTok is what really brought me in. Very much was given Vine era. Very much was given like uncensored. Very much was given freedom. And I think it definitely grew from there and kept going. I love the dance aspect of it. I wasn't the biggest fan of Musical.ly, but my little cousin was on Musical.ly, and we enjoyed seeing the dances, and not really lipping, like the lip syncing part was kind of weird. And it's funny because I think about it, that lip sync part is still there. That was another girl, the girl who would have the laptop up and she'll reenact the videos. Like she'll have like a skit, not a skit. She'll have like a scene from a movie, and she'll like say them word for word.
Yeah,
I love those too. That was something. Yeah, TikTok was just I just got addicted to the people just being themselves and seeing the quote unquote weirder parts of people. Like some girl said, she did certain things on TikTok that she would never do on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just thought about it like, dang, I never really thought about it. It's definitely a lot of like
It's
weird stuff that I did on TikTok that I'm like, when I post on my Instagram, no, why would I do that? Why would I ruin my image? So, from there, so we talked about, that's my take on like my first interaction with it, but how do you what's your perception of it now? I know we're going into that at the beginning. Like, what's your perception of TikTok now as our last day? Like, how do you feel about TikTok?
Before I get into that,
Go ahead.
you mentioning Instagram is funny because I also haven't seen those posts of like there was the funniest one I saw was the lady was like, she was in the car, she's like, I just went to Instagram and it's some weirdos over there. She was like, we gotta save this app. I got $5 on that. We gotta save this app.
I got $5 on it.
So I see a lot of posts recently too about like how Instagram is just like a completely different culture over there. And she was, a lot of people, including her, was talking about like in the comment section of a TikTok, like it's just funny. But it's like on Instagram, like people are so serious and negative.
Yep.
And so it's just like just seeing the different dynamics of how people view each app and like the community that's on each app. But my understanding of it now is just like, it's my road dog, you know? It towards the end, the last like year, it's turned to like my secondary YouTube.
Okay.
Like, cause it's like I use YouTube like to Google stuff. And so I started going to TikTok to Google stuff because TikTok was coming through, right? So it became like kind of like a search engine for me, but also I was able to have like my folders. So I have like a vision board on there. I have like content that inspires me that I go back to and try to recreate and put my stamp on. I have a lot of things on there that helped me in other, like holistically. So like I said earlier, like it helped me with like my business and stuff. Also like people teaching about finances, people sharing facts and like tools and different things to like better your health overall, whether that was physical health, spiritual health, emotional health. So it's just like I took it more as like another opportunity for learning because I really like learning. And so having that taken away is just like, yes, I can get a lot of that from YouTube, but it's not in the same like format of just like quick, easily accessible. You don't have to scroll through too many to find stuff. Instagram, I have things on Instagram too that I learned from, but it's just not the equivalent. It doesn't add up. Like Instagram is just so flooded with just such a randomness, so many AI profiles and things like that. I don't know. It's just so different over there. But for me, TikTok became like my personal Bible, low key, of like all things me.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. So
I think about too, like, this is how I characterize the two platforms, Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is who you really are. TikTok is who you want to. I mean, Instagram is who you want to be.
okay, I can see that.
TikTok is definitely like, if you look at someone's TikTok algorithm, you get a sense of like, oh,
Yeah.
you into anime. Oh, you into Legos. Oh, you're into business. Oh, you're into cameras. Like TikTok is that. Instagram is like, this is who you want to be. This is aspiring. Like you're more trying to be like something, you know, very curated, very calculated. It's not to the point where it's business, but it's more like first impression on a date. TikTok is like, well, we here now.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I definitely resonate with that. Where like, this is like, you know, almost like your brain, right? Like it almost becomes like, this is just like subconscious, like ramble thought. This is in my brain. Like this is just all the stuff I think about. One day I'm going to the deep dive on this. Another day I'm thinking about my spiritual health, you know, like that's so interesting. Yeah. It's, TikTok for me today. What is TikTok for me today? Why make that face?
I'm just waiting.
Yeah, TikTok. You're always laughing before I say something. Yeah, TikTok for me is like, I think I'll resonate with that same thing. It's the little things that I enjoy that they don't fit so neatly on any other platform. It's almost like a family reunion. Like I feel like TikTok gives me that energy. And I finally got to the bottom of the list, and this is not the first videos I liked.
Okay.
Because it says 2023. And now that I'm thinking about it, I remember what first really drew me on TikTok. Because the first video I like is a 2023. That's not true. I remember I was following Wild and Out,
Okay.
and they were posting all their little clips at the time. And that's what really got me hooked on TikTok was the Wild and Out post, the dancing, and then that white girl that I'll find her name in a little bit. And Teriyaki Poppy. Shout out to TP Poppy. You've seen Tarek Poppy, right? The dude he's like some form of Asian guy. He always talks he has a voice effect that goes.
I don't know.
I'll show it to you.
So many great people out there.
Yeah. But yeah, it feels like TikTok always felt like a family reunion for me, where it's like it's a little ghetto. It's some characters that I might not see all the time, but I'm just glad that we're all here together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everybody doing their own thing. Nobody needs to be catered to, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
How can on the same platform they have shopping, live streams, tell-alls, documentaries, like they have all different things on the same platform, like, and you would think like this would never, like, if you explain this as a concept, we're gonna create a platform that has everything, anything a person's looking for, they can find it on this app. They'll close that door in your face, but somehow we got music, people dancing, people singing. We got literal people giving advice on divorce and lawyer and business. We got people who just on there posting their everyday life, posting their fashion, posting everything like that. It's people who live stream every day on there. That all they do is do live streams. We got people who literally their job is to sell product. They, the TikTok shop now. People go in there, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. And it's just so interesting.
Dating shows.
Dating shows. It's
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I explain it. It's like a family reunion.
Everyone's accepted. I like the part you says like no one's being catered to.
Yeah, like everybody kind of find their little pocket and they just
like it's space for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel about TikTok, and so it's sad to see it go. And granted, we don't know what the future holds. We know it's gonna close, but if it's gonna come back or not, I guess we'll see. I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know what my actual prediction on that is. If it's gonna come back or not, it might get Flappy Birded.
Yeah.
We never see it again. It is gone.
So, if it doesn't come back, where do you think people are going to transition to? Because it seems like people hate Instagram. So I've seen people talk about they already deleted their Instagram account because they went on there and was just so dissatisfied. And so, like, where do you think people are going to transition to try to fill that void? Lemonade?
Lemonade.
Oh, Lemonade. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that a lot.
Even TikTok's been like sponsoring Lemonade ads for every big creator you'll see sponsor Lemonade.
I thought they were not the same, but I thought they were connected at some point. But I guess not. It's just
no, they're connected.
Oh, they are. Okay.
They're like a sister company.
Okay, that makes sense.
Kind of like Facebook and like Instagram.
Yeah, because like people's like so and so wants to add your Lemonade, and I'm just like, I don't have Lemonade. I don't know if I'm gonna get Lemonade.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a sister platform to TikTok. Yeah, I haven't been on it yet. I remember looking at it early, trying to be on the cutting edge of like what's popping and blah, blah, blah. Where people are going to go. Honestly, I think they're going to just naturally go to Lemonade first. Mm-hmm. But if you're asking me what's going to be the next TikTok, I have no idea.
Oh, no, not the next TikTok. Like where people are just on a transition for the time being.
I think most big creators are going to go to Lemonade because it's going to be such an easy transition for their followers to just boom. I think, again, Instagram, I don't like the notion that Instagram is bad because I love Instagram on my heart, but I'm biased.
I don't have any issues with Instagram for real. I do operate different. Like you were saying. Yeah. Like,
I feel like Instagram is that pretentious guy with the beanie.
And the little hoop earring.
Yeah, the little hoop earring, like we enjoy Instagram, but we know it's just certain things you can't say in front of that person. Certain things is not going to get the same love. Like the hoop earring guy is a little bit more judgmental.
Yeah.
So we can't be at, I can't tell him about my stuffy collection because I don't think he's going to resonate. And I that's how I feel about Instagram. So like, I think Instagram, even though like there's some people who once they have a following, you know, we've seen people who once had a following on TikTok, it can go over to Instagram. But I think the followings that people build on TikTok could never ever be built on Instagram. It's because the way Instagram's algorithm works, if it doesn't look good, most people will. We've seen people with dusty cameras blow up on TikTok. I mean, for a year, for years, like, man, that angle is horrible. That lighting is terrible. That's another person I just saw at the beginning. Caleb City, man, I ain't thought of Caleb City in forever.
Yeah.
He used to be heavy on TikTok at the
What's
beginning.
he up to now?
You know, I don't know. I know he was kind of like connected with the group of like RDC and all them, but I don't know what Caleb said. I know he started making videos again, but
Maybe he's just like heavy on YouTube.
yeah,
And like maybe Twitch.
yeah. Dang, that's a throwback. See, that's the same. That's why I couldn't remember. Like, bro, these people don't make videos no more, so it's like I don't even know who them people are.
I think people are definitely on transition to lemonade, but I've been heavy on the seeing about the red. I think it's called Red Note.
Yeah,
Right.
Red Note.
Those TikToks are freaking hilarious because it's like people going to go test the waters. I'm just being like, because the first video I seen was of this Asian guy, and he's like, I just want to let you guys all know in America that we've opened our doors to you, and you're welcome to come if you're an American citizen. And then like he kind of breaks down like what traditionally is posted on Red Note. Then after that, I just kept seeing more and more Red Note videos. And so it's us going over there
Acting up nuts.
acting up. And then it was this other post. It was just, this girl was just like, y'all don't come out here acting out that.
For real.
Y'all better act like you got some decorum.
Don't be playing. Don't be embarrassing us now.
So many people talk about they learning Mandarin, and it was like, it's just another skill because that's like the most spoken language in the world anyway. So like, why not? Someone figured out how to turn their captions into Mandarin so like people can read. The funniest one I seen was, I think it was yesterday, this guy said he went on Red Note and he was just like heavy on there all day, just kind of like trying to figure out the app and make friends, whatever. And he said someone from China befriended him, and he instant messaged him like, hey, like, can we be friends, blah blah blah. And so he was just like, I don't know, like people. So I was just like, maybe this is how they get down the app, like people are just so friendly, like they engage, whatever. So he said started talking to him, and he said he fell asleep because he said he was up for hours on there. He said he stopped talking to him for like maybe 45 minutes because he fell asleep. He said he opened up his app, had hella notifications, and he went to his inbox and said, are you ignoring me?
Army is crazy.
He was like, I don't know. Is that how friendship works over there? Like, I can't take a nap.
The cultural differences in that case.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more interactions like that. I'm just like,
What we gonna see him, man?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna see them probably repost it on like YouTube and some on Instagram, but I don't think I'm gonna download Red Note.
I ain't gonna lie. One thing I will say about TikTok going bye-bye. I hope this is the resurgence of YouTube. In the sense of like,
I can see that.
I was trying to think of like, what was TikTok before TikTok? Because even though nothing was ever completely like TikTok, but that energy, I think Vine, heavy Vine. But I do think the vlog era on YouTube was very much the energy that I feel like from TikTok. Granted, it was different because obviously it's a different skill set to really edit like that, or even have the money to have someone else edit like that. But I do think about like the rawness, and I think about people growing followings based on like who they really are, genuinely are. I really think about like early vlog era, and I'm talking about like bad quality camera, like we're all using iPhones and, you know, long talking head videos. I feel like that's like I feel like most people, would transition over there. Oh, it's very interesting.
I think you're on point with that. I watched a few videos of that too, of people saying like they feel like a lot of people are going to transition to YouTube. And then there was even like a meme that came out like, us in 2026 all on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. So I think that is definitely going to happen. I know a lot of people are like creating Discords to stay connected with their followers, and
That's pretty good. That's a good idea.
yeah, so I've seen a lot of that. There was one more thing about YouTube. I forgot. But yeah, I can see YouTube, Discord, I guess Red Note.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I think I've always been a staunch YouTuber.
Yes.
2008, baby. Been there since day one.
Day one.
What was it? I do vividly remember the first video that really got me hooked on YouTube. That was the, what did he say? Unforgivable. Unforgivable. Classic. Classic. If y'all don't know the video, I don't even know it's still up, but the
It might
Unforgivable.
still be up.
Yeah, the Unforgivable videos when he was over there in that woods in that black and white. I don't know. I don't get what the concept was, but I love them videos. And I used to have me on YouTube faithfully. Yeah, but yeah, let us know your thoughts on the TikTok ban. Where y'all gonna go next? Please let us know. What the TikTok situation and really just thinking about like kind of like labeling stuff. There's a case happening right now. Byron Allen. For people who aren't familiar, Byron Allen is how would I explain it?
He
A mogul.
Yeah.
He is one of the richest people in the world and one of the richest black people in the world. And he has like national TV networks. It's hard to explain. He's been on the Breakfast Club a couple times. If I could find some of his interviews, I'll put him on there and so he can explain it, so you can see that and get an idea of who he is. But basically he's in the broadcasting business. He's one of the people who tried to buy BET when BET was selling at the time. And he's just always been like a black visionary as far as like, pushing things forward as far as like how things are viewed. He has a news platform called The Griot. If you're ever looking for like black news, The Griot is really, really good. The GRIO. And he has like a bunch of different articles on there around black business and things like that. It's really, really good, actually. I really appreciate it. But with that, he has a lawsuit against good old McDonald's. And it's very, very interesting. Basically, he was initially suing for, was it 10 million? For just like, I can't remember the exact phrasing. Do you remember what it was?
It was
like discrimination.
Yeah, discrimination didn't.
Racial discrimination.
Didn't move forward.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah, they were suing for discrimination, because the way he explained it, or the way the suit explained it, is that McDonald's has money allotted for marketing, and they have a national marketing budget, and then they have what, I don't know the exact term, but we'll call it the black marketing budget for smaller news networks. Okay. Byron Allen's in his suit is saying that they were never ever allowed funds from the national budget. They were only allotted from this small budget, which messes with the money, because like, why am I only getting?
Yeah, because I think that budget was like only 1.2 million. So that was already a very small budget to begin with.
And the other one was hundreds of millions. So, he was suing for that, and then now I guess he's escalated it to $100 million. Is it on the same case, or?
It's on the same case because something about the judge didn't move it forward, but I guess his attorney refiled or something with a added clause,
added stuff on there.
Yeah, and so they're suing it for, I thought it was 10 million again. It's 100 million.
I thought it went up. Let me see. Oh, I apologize. It was initially 10 billion. And he filed a separate one for 100 million.
Okay.
Saying that McDonald's lied about increasing spending with black media. The California judge dismissed the case in December 2024 but the original 10 billion lawsuit will proceed to trial. There you go.
Yeah.
That's our facts.
But I was like, I know there's a 10 in there still.
But I guess it was not 10 mil, it was 10 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Big B's. We talking about big money. Byron Allen don't play. But I thought it was an interesting conversation about labeling. Me and Ariel have talked about it. But the first time I actually really have thought about it is good old Kanye brought it up when he got upset about being called one of the richest black men. You know, he got upset about it because he's like, I'm one of the richest men. Why y'all keep? It's like when y'all put the word black on it, y'all trying to like diminish it. Not that he's not empowered to be a black man, but you know, it's like the little like side BS that they do, like
microaggression. Yeah,
little microaggressions. That's how I always feel about when they do stuff like, we're gonna talk about Keke Palmer later, but when they be like the Aquila the B star, like there's way more things you can notarize her as than the Aquila and the B star. Like, come on, don't do her like that. But yeah, like I wanted to really speak to that and like kind of get your thoughts on that. Like, how do you feel when people receive these accolades and they on top of the accolade, instead of recognizing it as a general accolade, like, you know, Byron Allen being one of the richest men, they put something like the richest black man, or he has one of the biggest black networks. Like, how do you feel about when they do things like that, or when you hear stuff like that?
I initially didn't feel any type of way until like I kind of looked more into like the reasonings why Kanye and also Byron and many others. Like I said, I have friends who feel the same way. And I see the point of like the diminishing part and also like the limiting parts of like being put inside a box and having quote unquote different standards or expectations. Because initially it seemed like a good thing, right? When like that first became a real like heavy thing in media of seeing like black whatever, it's like, oh, we're being recognized that like we like us black people are successful too, and like we do stuff and make difference, whatever. But then it comes to a point where just like, is that another microaggression by adding that label on there? Because they don't see us as equal, you know, they don't see us as peers or as, you know, someone that they're kind of competing with or having to collaborate with, whatever the case.
It's kind of giving the energy of like, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah, also to that too. It's just like, oh, look, a black guy.
Why can't all black people be like you? That's the energy it gives me.
That's the energy it gives you. I just see it as them like being like, oh, okay, he's black, he has money, cool. Let's just put it out there so they can feel good about themselves. And it's just like, no, we can feel good ourselves because we black. Like, you don't have to have a label on it. We know we black, you know. But initially, like, I thought it was a good thing. But now that I feel like how media uses it, it ultimately like tarnishes that in a bit too. So I don't really care for it too much anymore. Especially when I feel like it's being shoved so much. I'm like, we get it. Like, yes, we want representation. Yes, we appreciate like them having someone to look up to, or like our children have someone to look up to. But we can see they black. We gotta.
You gotta make that notion.
Yeah.
Well, and I think about, because I always try to put it in perspective so people can understand, and this is what helps me understand. If your boss came up to you at your job, it was like, Ariel, you're one of our best black employees. How does that sit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First it was like, you're one of our best employees. No, you're one of our best black employees. It's like, yeah, because like, what do you mean by that?
Right.
So like, that's also the energy I get. And granted, I don't think it started that way, you know, because when I think of like the biggest black owned companies, I don't see that negative stigma to it. But like I said, when you're, you know, giving someone that, you know, praise and you're like, yeah, he has one of the biggest black businesses ever. It's like, you know, if it's a Fortune 500 business, it's one of the biggest businesses. You know, it's different. You know, we talked about this too, like, because I don't think labeling it black is truly the issue. Because, you know, I think it's important when it's like the first black, you know, we talked about before, the first black astronaut. the first,
Mm-hmm.
I think is an important thing to recognize in the context. Like, dang, black people have never penetrated space before until today, and this is the person who penetrated that space. I think that's something important to like recognize and acknowledge. But we don't. After a point,
Yeah, because they just keep it going. Like the 21st Black
yeah,
Olympic, I'm just like,
one of the
what?
most one of the most decorated black Olympians is like. And granted, I'm not gonna say I've seen that phrasing before, but it's like, I don't know. I always feel the type of way. Like, that's why I appreciated I think Sports Center. Was it Sports Center? I can't remember. One of the sports networks did an article about who was the most dominant athlete, and the most dominant athlete was Tiger Woods. Spoiler alert, sorry. Which I knew without even reading the article, and I just appreciated that it's like something like that. Like, he's not the most dominant, because it obviously was black and white people on that list, but like, who was the most dominant athlete of this, of our generation? It was definitely Tiger Woods, which makes so much sense to me. But I appreciate when people actually go out on that limb and like remove that stuff, because then we can really appreciate who these people are. Like Tiger Woods being on the list, LeBron, Serena Williams, all these different people that were on the list is just really, really good. Federer from tennis too. I want to take it to like, when we talk about like, because some people, you talked about before that you didn't have a problem with it because you didn't see what the issue was, and I feel like a lot of people do feel that way. Like, what? Do you like? We talked about it being like, is it a microaggression? Like, do you feel like is there contexts where people use it and it makes sense, or is it contexts where you feel like it doesn't make sense?
I feel like
'Cause I feel like there's an argument that some people feel like, oh no, I was trying to recognize you, like you said, as a black person by saying you have one of the biggest black businesses. And it's like
an amazing success. And my thing is that is just, I think it all goes back to representation. I think they're doing what they perceive us to need or want, because we talk about like, oh, we're not represented in enough spaces, especially in media and whatever. And so I think it started off as like, well, we got to let them know that these people are black so they can know that they've been represented. And it's like, I get it. But at this point, the way that it's like, to his point of like, it limited him from, which it shouldn't have, receiving funds for a successful network that he fit all the criteria to receive funds from the larger budget. So I think when it comes to that, that's why I'm starting to be like, maybe they're doing this, not everybody, but I feel like this can be used as a weapon against us too. Because when you're applying for grants and his funds and all those things, it's like, okay, I'm being put into this box of a black woman owned business. I'm already, yes, those are my identities. Yes, I'm excited to be empowered and praised and celebrated for those identities. But is that limiting my access to certain resources? Because now I'm over here and I only am able to accept whatever you guys are labeling me from. So I think that's when it becomes an issue. And I think it could be being used against us now that people have picked up on that, and they have like made these DEI like funding and resources and stuff where it's just like there's another way for them to kind of segregate us.
And I think, like I was thinking about as you were speaking on it, like it is very interesting that the way they go about it, and I guess you can see it in a way as far as like it's just always funny how some stuff can start from a good natured place and then get transformed in a different way. I think the thing I'm like reflecting on is like the identity part, right? Like being shown in a certain type of light, and where does that stem from? And I kind of get it because I think about like, I don't think everybody thinks this way, but like a lot of times when people think of black people, they attribute us to sports, entertainment,
Yeah.
music, you know, things like that, like entertainment stuff. So I see it from that lens where it's like somebody's trying to recognize, like, no, look, this black person is doing this black owned business.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely, like you said, that it takes me back to an article I read a long time ago about Joe and Jose.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about this.
It sounds familiar.
It was an article about this guy who was trying to apply to these jobs. His name was Jose, and he just could not get a job
Yeah.
to save his life. Had a great resume. Everything was good, but he couldn't get a job. I can't remember. I think it was in Seattle or something like that. I can't remember the place. Don't quote me on the place. But his name was Jose. He gets his name changed to Joe and applies to the same places with the new resume with Joe on it. And he said he got a bunch of callbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about that. And then I also think about the industry that I've grown up in, which is the restaurant industry, and thinking about how that, while being a black owned restaurant is something that we're proud to be, people put stigmas. It becomes stigmatized when you hear black owned, like, oh shoot, they're not going to be doing this, or it might not be this. And it's sad that that stigma is there because, like, where does that stigma stem from? Especially when you think about, like, again, black people, when you think of Black Wall Street and how fast it was growing and what happened to it and stuff like that. It's like I said, that microaggression where it's like something that we used to be used to be proud of is now being used to weaponize, and we have to readjust, kind of like with the N-word again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very interesting. But I'm kind of glad that we're getting to that place because, yeah, I know I want to be recognized a certain way. Like, why? You know, I think about a lot of times because as a restaurant, we used to read the Yelp reviews. McDonald's has bad reviews and people still go. Taco Bell has bad reviews, people still go. There's some restaurants like you'll see like mom and pop, you know, restaurants as far as like, you know, a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese food, Indian food. You see these bad reviews and people will still go and attend those restaurants and things like that. But I remember reading some of the reviews that we would got. It'd just be like so like unrealistic. I went to this busy restaurant, had to wait 30 minutes. I can't believe that. Blah 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 blah. It's like, dog, what are we talking about? What that got to do with us? But it's like you wrote a review about us because we got popping and we're a smaller establishment. It was like little goofy stuff like that where I'm like,
wait at Chili's for 30 minutes and don't complain.
bro, I didn't went to Chili's, Red Robin. I didn't went to places and they be like, oh, we don't get a table. You see all the tables open too. Sorry, we only doing this side of the restaurant right now because we're short staffed. Blah blah blah. Grace, people come back, bring their family all the time. So it was like stuff like that where I'm like, you know, making the joke that like we used to make the joke all the time. Like I'm pretty sure if they didn't know our grandpa was black, our restaurant would get a different stigma. If they just thought we're all employees of this establishment, it'll get a different stigma and stuff like that. And I won't go too far into that, but yeah, I just definitely think about the labeling thing. How it hurts my heart that we can't really be like we can be proud, but how this always seems to happen with different things. You know, reading old articles about like. I was reading an article about watermelon. Like watermelon was a crop that black people grew to help them make a lot of money at the beginning when they first were free from slavery, and how that got flipped on its head and became a negative trope about black people.
Right.
It's just so like, again, not to get on too much on some rah rah like we gotta stop the white people type stuff. We do, but the thing for me is like. I'm just glad that we're able to keep pushing forward. Like it just speaks to us as people. Like, you know, Byron Allen doing this is like a step is him pushing forward. Like, listen, we're not going for that for no more. Things are changing. And if I'm doing good business, I don't care if I'm black, white, Asian, green, white, whatever. Run me my money. I'm doing business properly, run me my money, and it shouldn't. If you think that's okay, it's time for me to correct you.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about this happening. I don't know. I don't know if you got any thoughts on it. Sorry.
Oh, I think my thoughts are pretty wrapped on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's doing it too, especially with such a big corporation. Because, you know, if it was a corporation that was new about, like, oh, glad he did it, but it's McDonald's, so it's like
Conflicting for me.
coverage.
Sorry, that's why I like Taco Bell and McDonald's. So I can switch. I can flip flop. I guess I'm going back to Taco Bell. Taco Bell also got some new stuff out. We're not sponsored by Taco Bell, but Taco Bell got some new chicken burritos that are pretty good.
Okay.
If y'all into that kind of food. Just saying, I'm a fast food guy. Unfortunate. But I mean, while we're talking about that, I mean, Black moguls, like I said, Keke Palmer, legend. You know,
Diva.
You know what I'm saying? Diva. Okay. What does diva mean?
It just means you have this aura and this accolade to talk and act without anyone like being like, why should I? Like, oh, it's okay because we just gotta do it. We just gotta deal with it because, you know, she got the right to act that way. She got the right to speak like that.
Got it. She earned it.
Yeah. So she a millennial diva is what she call herself.
A millennial diva.
Yeah.
Okay. A diva is a female version of a hustler. Sorry, but interesting. Yeah, Keke Palmer recently had an article with The Cut. Really good article. Shout out to the writer who did it. Let me see if I can give him some recognition. E.J. Dixon. Shout out to E.J. Dixon. You did a really good job on the article. It was really an interesting article, kind of just exploring KeKe's life as a child actor, now mogul, how she's grown through that, you know, and then even how that stuff has affected her character. And I really just wanted to show her flowers today and like really talk about the article because I think I think the article was done really, really well. And I learned some stuff from Keke Palmer, some of the stuff I did know, other things I never really even paid it, like really connected the two together, if it made sense. And I think, again, EJ did a really good job. But what was your thoughts on the article?
I think it was well written and on time, you know, with her recent project coming out one of them days out in theaters today. Go see it. Do you know it took them 6 years to get that together? That was amazing.
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know that before reading the article, but I didn't. I read that in the article.
Yeah, and I think it was timely due to like her finally. I feel like these last 4 years she's really starting to get recognized for like how awesome she's always been. And so I feel like it was timely with her book release and also her new movie coming out. And also answering a lot of questions that people had because of recent events in her life. And like you said, it was done well, it was done tastefully. Some things I was familiar with because, you know, it's Keke. I keep up. Keep up with Keke. But I like how, like you said, from that it was written from a different approach and a different mindset because she's matured throughout the years. So she's able to speak about her past experiences from her childhood and being a child actor into like her experiences now. And it seemed like it was a lot of reflection that she did and expressed through this interview of how she approached sharing her story now and the message that she wants to put out due to her own personal experiences and how she has control over that a lot more now. So I think I enjoyed it a lot, just seeing where she's at mentally and spiritually, in her not just age, but just her growing throughout childhood to adulthood, and how she's used that to really still be, like she said, the voice of the generation. Yeah.
I think the beautiful thing about Keke Palmer that has always drawn me in is her ability to, how do I say, like her ability to, like she said in this article, like always remain a positive light throughout her career. Like a lot of these child stars, and there's no knock to them because they went through some stuff, but a lot of them have like, have like a shadow on their beginning of their career because how it went and what they were going through, things like that. KeKe has never shared anything like that, so I can't say to it, but in this article she explains that, like, the business is the business, but she's always made do what she has and brought the best to the situation as far as like comfort, and enjoying doing those things. So I always appreciate that part about her, because that's when we think KeKe, we just think of like ultimate positivity for sure, like always high energy, always cracking a joke, always, like we said, keeping it real. The famous clip of, "I do not know this man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to this man."
The new one I like by her is, "That was acting." I love that.
Yeah, I've always appreciated her, and every time I seen an article, I knew I was gonna have a good time watching it. So yeah, I think again this article really fleshed out her story pretty well. Even put a good bow on her relationship with Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson.
He's actually in the military right now, which is interesting. Fun fact.
Hands up. I'm sorry. No, we not.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciated this article because, again, just seeing her being showcased for who she is and how she's grown into her career was really dope. They in this article they really pull pieces, and if you guys should go read the article. It's not too long. It's probably like maybe like a 10-minute read, 5-10-minute read, something like that. Depending on your reading speeds. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I've lost my train of thought.
You were saying there's a part in here where she speaks about.
I'm not high, I swear.
We are definitely high.
High on life.
High on Jesus.
Dang, what is it?
There was two things. There was one thing you wanted to. Well, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that part, but of how she used how she developed her character of who she is in correlation to like who she was as a child actor. But then there was also part about how it ties into Byron as well. So I don't know which one you were trying to.
Well, it ties into Byron is the fact that she's a mogul. I need to do more research on Byron Allen's like early life, but from what I understood, he's obviously came a long way. I think his mom is an actor.
Okay.
So he has that like entry point. But I think it was just more like just transcending the label. Again, transcending the label. Byron Allen is one of the biggest people in America, period. Like that's just no question, given what he's done, especially in the broadcasting space. And KeKe Palmer has transcended, being like they said in the article, the black show on Nickelodeon, to being like, no, it's KeKe Palmer.
Yeah.
We just love her because she is who she is, not because we're trying to, I never really had granted, black people might feel like, oh, she was like one of the first black faces that, things like that, even though we had a bunch of other ones. But I think she's transcended a point where it's like, no, we just love KeKe.
Yeah.
We don't care about her. Like,
Being
she spoke to me at a time when I was a black girl and I was looking for different roles. Like, it might have started there, but now it's like, no, we just love KeKe for who she is. And I think that's really dope. So I wanted to, like, in this article, it talks about, like, the thing that I just wanted to talk about was, like, how the different thing, like, her career affected what she was going through in life, affected her career, and then also vice versa, what she's going on in career affected her life. Like, what's your thoughts on, like, do you feel like that resonated with you in any way? Like, especially someone, as we both have went through, like, multiple career shifts, and maybe not literally, like, full career shifts, but going to different jobs and doing different things. Do you feel like that applies to you?
I think it applies to me when it comes to, actually, it applies to me in both ways. One way was the roles I chose to take on was because I resonated with the clients that were being served. So I had some type of identifying experience that they also had. And so that made me more passionate about going into that work and serving those people who I was once in their position. And the second, sorry, Anthony was calling. The second one is also the other way around, like being in different environments, different roles, and it shifting my perspective and also like my direction of where I want my career to go next. I'm not gonna say it on the pod. We can talk about it after. But there's certain things I experienced in my last like 3 jobs over the past 6 years, where I was just like, I don't want that anymore, you know. And there's certain characteristics that they all had in common, where I'm just like, that's not what I'm looking for anymore. So now that I'm pursuing different, advancement in my career, I'm looking for things opposite of those things. And I think it affects me as a person, because not to say like I built up this, well, I think I have built up a bias in some way. I'm not going to deny that. But
we all got biases. That's okay.
Yeah. But it just makes me view, because I've been known to work in nonprofit, right? So it makes me view nonprofit and like charity different. Because I've seen behind the scenes, the inside. And so I think as a person, yeah. So I think as a person, I'm even more wise and even more like diligent about doing my full research about a cause before like fully supporting it. So I feel like in those ways, I think it affected me on both ends of that. Like
okay.
Flip flop, I guess.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy how that works, right? Like, cause I think we always think about what we could bring to a job, but rarely do we think about what the job could really, how the job is going to affect our lives.
Yeah.
Cause the way we go in, and a lot of times the way we come out of the job is not the same.
No. 20 pounds heavier.
Definitely always the weight, man. This desk jobs kill me.
Or like 50 pounds lighter. Just stress both ways.
I wish I was 50 pounds lighter. I have not, since I've been working at my job since 2021, I've only gained 20 pounds. It's a lot.
But that's
that much.
But that's because you're also still developing as an adult.
Huh?
You're getting
I'm
closer
27
to
years
30. Old. Your body is transitioning still. So why are you looking like that?
I'm just hearing the new science.
It's your body still develops some shapes, especially when you get closer to 30.
Shapes what?
Like you can gain weight, your metabolism changes, stress factors, all that stuff.
We gonna correct all that. We ain't worried about it. We gonna correct all that. Wait till I get to my Ozempic. We gonna correct all that. Get all this back to where I was.
Okay. I'm just saying some things come with age, too.
I'm getting old. What's going on? What did this turn into? What did this turn into? You're also getting old. And when you get old, you gain weight.
I think it's okay.
It's not your career. It's you. Dang, bro. What the hell's going on? But anyway, it's all right.
Sorry.
I was saying that was nuts. But yeah, I think it's really interesting because I've worked so many different fields. I worked as a security guard. I've worked as in the food industry, Save Mart, restaurant. Worked as now I'm as a sales guy working on the mechanic field and diesel industry and things like that. And definitely it's always cool to see how my life experience informs how I grow in my career. I think that's the part that I never really recognized. I never thought about, because my family had owned a business, a manager title never really meant anything to me. Cause what that mean? What's the point of a title? We just trying to make stuff work. And again, add to the circumstances and create the best scenario for all of us to win. Like that's just the nature of being in a business with your family. Like what can we all bring to the table to really up this? What things can we do to this to make it streamlined? What are things that are holding us back? Blah blah blah. This is a natural thing, and those skills turn into positions in a corporate world that I never really even thought of. So it's like interesting, like even like, I don't know if you ever seen the thing, like a lot of people who are like, I think millionaires or something like that. The correlation they have, they were all like waiters or waitresses or something like that at one point in their lives, like early on.
Okay.
It's like something like that. It's like also like sales is like one of those things. So it's always very interesting because that's the fields that I'm in. Not saying I'm gonna become a millionaire, but like those are the things that
millionaire.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about the money, but I mean I am worried about the money, but I ain't worried about the money. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's more like didn't understand that when I read it in the book, read it in the search papers, but now that I lived life through those positions, I see it because you're dealing with people on a whole different level. As a waiter, you're dealing with people when they're hungry, dealing with people when they're not in the best mood. Like no matter what, you have to be who you are and give them the best service, or you should give them the best service no matter how they show up that day. And as a salesperson, you're still dealing with people, but now you're trying to solve the problem. Before you knew they were hungry. Now you're trying to figure out what they need. And it's like interesting because I can see somebody who doesn't have much life experience struggling in that and having to grow a lot. But as I've shared with you and multiple of my friends, since I've lived a crazy life and met a lot of characters going into these situations, I can usually find like in a KeKe's article, I can pull from my life and that lesson can fuel me in these situations. Like, and it's just so interesting. Like I was talking to someone about me going to Placerville, and most people don't know Placerville has a stigma of being a hangtown and having like racial undertones. So, as a black person, there's supposed to be some fear going there, but also from my life experience of people who've been quote unquote racist, a lot of times they kind of like, well, I get there's initial fear like dealing with that person because you think they're not going to like you. A lot of time that information is based on half truths or based on complete like illogical, like falsities. Like this don't make no sense. So when I come in contact with those people, I never go into contact like, oh, this person's racist. I go into contact like this person is misinformed, and because of that, I find myself walking to a lot more rooms that people might be more hesitant walking to. I walk into those rooms with a lot more confidence, and that it works for me. Like the other day, I was just chopping up with a guy, and behind him, he has like this like Trump 2024 thing like that. And obviously, there's a stigma with Trump and racism and stuff like that. So it's like I could be like shaking in my boots, like, oh shoot, where am I at? Should I be here? This, that, whatever. But we chopped it up, had a good old conversation, and talked about stuff that wasn't work for a minute before I left. It was, just me. I'm like, I don't care about what you vote for. Like I said, as long as you bring us some business, that's all I care about in this position. That's all I care about, this business. When we hang out after this, probably not. You probably don't hang out with me. I don't hang out with you either. But here we are. So I think definitely like being in sales and being in just living life in general and going through my crazy things that I've experienced in life, and then also like being in this fields that I've been in, I just come across a lot of interesting characters, and I learned a lot about a lot of interesting characters. And it's called me to continue to be curious and give people grace, and that's carried over into my life. And I always bring that back into the job. To make a long story short,
so those are like two principles or like anchors that kind of are threaded through your professional life and your personal life. Yeah,
I think you know better than me. I'm always give people grace. Like I'll never. Unless someone just does something strictly to me about me, like a lot of times people be having a whole lot more to worry about than Najjar and doing something strictly to him. And I always have grace for that because I've seen so many scenarios where people have done that and where people have on the other side admitted to doing that, So that's just what it be for me. Yeah. And like you said, if someone's hungry, you've been hungry. You're hungry right now.
I am.
I'm talking about because she's fasting, y'all. I'm pretty sure your fuse is shorter. Things might annoy you more.
Like
Go ahead.
sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah, exactly. Like certain things will take you a little bit more over the edge than usual.
Yeah.
Versus if you was, satiated, you'd be like, man, it's whatever, man. I ain't tripping on it. Not tweaking,
Yeah.
So when being a sales guy and I'm walking in somebody's door at 8:00 in the morning on a Monday, what do I really expect from that person? Like, how am I gonna get upset? Like, oh, he was so rude to me. He was standoffish. He didn't really want to have a conversation. Man, it's Monday. It's 8:00 in the morning. He don't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? But I only know that because, again, thinking it back on my own life, I don't want to be here at 8:00 on a Monday morning. How am I get mad at that? And sometimes even speaking to that truth. Listen, I know you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here either. Let me just get to the point. This is what I came to tell you. Do you got any questions? Give me a call. I'll come back another time. You know what I mean? Like, granted, I don't do that anyway. I'm not going nowhere 8:00 in the morning. But, just understanding where the other person might be coming from. If they got a lot of stuff, a whole bunch of people talking to them, let me go ahead and leave them alone. I'll come back another time. Just being able to read people. Some people just be so staunch on trying to do something that I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
Dawg, you going to wait 30 minutes for this person to finish? You think they're going to really be ready to talk to you? Come on. Hey, listen, I'll come back and see you later. I'll come back in an hour, or I'll come back tomorrow. I'll come back next week, whatever that looks like. I don't know. That's how I feel like it informs me. And I think I can see, hopefully I can see this transferred over to the business world that I'm in and just understanding the different things. I think the other thing I'll say real quick, being specifically in the industry that I'm in now, is kind of being okay with being firm. Being, I guess you maybe even say stern. Because sometimes the facts are just the facts. I think that's something that I'm learning to apply, where it's like, oh, can we get this price cheaper? I go to this guy and this guy does it for cheaper and this, that, whatever. And sometimes be like, no, I mean, if that's the case and he's so good to you, then continue to work with that person.
Right.
But when you're ready to come over here, this is what we offer and this is what we do. But I can't give you a better deal just because Joe Blow, who does half of what we do and half the research and brings half the resources, I can't do that. So again, it's also, that's like also part of it. Like part of it is like, I'm not here to sell to everybody. I'm here to sell to people who are looking for what I'm here to offer. If you need someone to call, I'm getting in sales mode. If you need someone to call to help you diagnose issues, if you need like quality information as far as crossing numbers over and stuff like that, and people who actually like, somebody who's going to be a partner in the business with you, where the people to talk to. If them other people, you just looking for the part at the cheapest price, that's their benefit they offer you. I'm not here to offer you the cheapest price because it might sales strategy be completely different. I'm not giving you a box with the cross numbers on there. I'm not doing that. We're going to give you a little bag with a little thing in it and throw it in, and I'm going to write the number on the front. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different perspectives. And I'm bringing that into my personal life. Like, hey, look, this is just my position in life. Like, it is what it is. You take it or leave it. I'm not going to look at you any differently, but this is who I am. I'm not bending on that. And also when it comes to business, like, when it comes to proposals, here we are. This is, I can work with you to a degree, but I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
What did my sales manager say the other day? What's good for the goose got to be good for the gander, or something like that. I don't know how the phrase goes. Do you know how the phrase goes?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
What's good for the goose can't always be good for the gander. One of the two.
I think that's how it goes. Ain't that how it goes?
I ain't old, so I don't know. I said I ain't never even. I heard that, but I ain't never heard somebody really use it in context.
Right.
I was giving movie line.
I feel like I heard my grandmother say that, but it's not like I was really listening.
Yeah, it's something like what's good for the goose also has to be good for the gander. I think that's what it is. Because I think the gander is the group.
Okay.
We're gonna go with that. If y'all know what it is, correct me. But yeah, Shout out to Keke again. Sorry, we kind of devolved.
Lauren. Sorry.
I don't get it.
Her name's Lauren. Lauren Kiana Palmer.
I don't like how you said her first name.
Lauren.
Why you getting her government out?
I always pictured in my mind if we ever became friends. I call her Lauren and not Keke.
Our parasocial relationship is really forming. I'm really starting to get to know you. That's how I felt about Ari Lennox when I found her name was Courtney. I said,
Oh.
Courtney.
Yeah, her and Coco are both Courtney. Now we have Solana.
Who?
SZA. Solana.
I don't like how you saying their first names. It's given.
What?
It's given too much. It's kind of, I'm thinking. Now we'll end it on this. Like, I think about this because like my name too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Wuzi is what people call me sometimes.
Yeah.
Wuzi Loke Jr. is my hashtag. Wuzi Media is the YouTube channel. But I do feel very uncomfortable when people dance back and forth between Wuzi and my name.
Oh, it was hard for me at first when we first started collaborating because I met you as your name, and then this started, and then you were Wuzi, and I was just like, but I think I don't recall you Wuzi anymore.
I mean, even then, like, I don't have a problem with people calling me the name.
Mm-hmm.
Having people dance back and forth
Yeah, that's what I'm
because it's
saying.
jarring. like I told you, my cousins been calling me Boo Boo my whole life.
Yeah,
They still call me Boo Boo.
so cute.
I can't even imagine, like, I don't even know what their voice sound like saying my name unless they're like referencing me to somebody else. Like them talking to me, I've never heard them say Najara.
Yeah.
What was so funny?
Your,
So it's like,
your face.
even like my little brothers, they call me Jardy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once in a while they might switch it up, Najar or whatever, like Najar here, something like that. And that's not that jarring. But like when someone knows me as Wuzi or met me and as Wuzi, introduced me as Wuzi, and then they find out my name, they start calling me Najar. It's like, ugh. What is, like, I don't know. It is triggers me for no reason at all.
Absolutely no reason.
Huh?
Absolutely no reason.
I don't know what it is. Like, I don't, maybe it's like a dissonance thing. Cause at first I was like, this person think they closer to me than they think they are. But I'm like, that don't make sense, because even when some of my friends who know me as Najar call me Wuzi, it's like the same thing. It's like, ugh, why are you calling me that? And maybe it's, I don't know. I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, that's something to sit on.
Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Because I was following you at first. Like, if you met them in a setting and you introduced yourself as Wuzi and they knew you as Wuzi for like a year or something, and then they found out your real name and they're like, oh, it's just like, why? Okay, you found out my real name. That don't change nothing. Like, I'm still Wuzi,
Yeah.
And your friends you've known since high school, since whatever, 10, 12 years, and they be calling your government. Also, they want to call you Wuzi. Just like,
And it's not even just the name, right? You know how people be. Sometimes they'll put a little pizzazz on it.
yeah.
This is Wuzi, and it's like, you know my name.
I think that's like the equivalent to like, oh, your little business.
Yeah, like, why are you?
Oh, you got your little card.
Because
They got your little nickname.
like my mom has called me Boo Boo, but she definitely calls me my name.
Mm-hmm.
And when she puts Boo Boo on it, there's a meaning under. There's an underlying meaning.
Okay.
She's like, hey, boo. It's like a little like she's sentimental.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. Like, I feel like sometimes my friends say, and not just my friends, even like when other people say my name, it's just the cadence of sound always throws me off. You know what I mean? Like when people like, yeah, this is my friend Najar, like natural flow. But it's like, you know me as Wuzi, like Najara. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. There's like, it's always like this little like something to it that makes me feel like, Just stick to what you know me by. I want you to be comfortable. Don't feel like you gotta like,
Yeah.
you know. And I ain't talking about like when people put theatrics on it, but it's like, oh, Wuzi. It's like, you can call me Najara. it's perfectly fine. You whatever nick. That's why I tell you all the time. Whatever nickname you gave for me works for me. Whatever you comfortable with. I'm cool living in that box. Just don't make me feel awkward. How do you pronounce it? Nedhara? Wuzi. Yep, Wuzi. You know, some people know me as Tyler.
Apparently, Terrence.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. I got many names in these streets. I had an old manager. He used to call me DJ.
And now I call you NJ.
NJ makes sense. DJ don't make no sense.
Yeah.
And I always crack up at I'm trying to think of the funniest interaction I ever had about my name was in school, 6th grade. It was 6th grade when it all started. My name is very
We found
the trauma.
Yeah.
The
The villains.
trauma started when my name was given to me because I couldn't spell it. Getting in trouble with spelling my own name wrong is crazy. In 6th grade, my name is very long, so when you put it on the paper, it looks crazy. It turns into, because my last name is hyphenated, so instead of it being 3 bars, it becomes 4 bars.
Mm-hmm.
So because of 4 bars, the last name starts to look like the first name. I guess to people looking at it on paper, because usually it goes like first name, middle name, last name, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it happens on is like first name and then it's like doubled up. So my teacher, for whatever reason, thought my name was Thornton in middle school, 6th grade. Okay. So for the first like semester and a half, he was calling me Thornton. And I'm thinking he was just a military guy.
Yeah.
Thornton. I'm like, okay, that kind of sounds kind of clean to me. I don't really people get to say the last name that often.
Yeah.
So I remember he was saying that, and then one of the students, why do you keep Mr. Mihas? Why do you keep calling him that? His name is Najara. Why do you keep calling him Thornton? He was like, what? You know, he's kind of embarrassed about it. And he put me across. He put me to the side later on. He's like, is your first name Najara? I said, yeah. He's like, why you never said anything? I was like, I'm like, I didn't know. I'm just going with the flow. Yeah, I didn't know you think my last name was Najara. That'd be crazy. That's like a crazy last name.
It could be cool.
Imagine that. Thornton Najara. That sounds terrible. Thornton sounds like a good last name. Maybe because I just know it.
Yeah.
But it has to feel like something about the ton at the end just feels like it ends it.
Mm-hmm.
Najara just feels like it leads into something. Anyway.
Yeah, it needs to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my trauma.
I like that instead of like teachers calling people by their last name because they don't want to
say it,
learn the first name, like how to accurately say the first name. Because I've seen teachers do that before, and I'm just like,
that's kind of petty.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be also out of respect. You know, you don't want to keep messing my name up. I only got you for 1 semester.
My story, interesting story of my name wasn't in schools at church. So my sister had this friend named Kai. What's up, Kai? If you're watching this, I don't know what she's doing in her life, but when I think I was like, how old was I? Maybe like 9. I think I maybe been like preteen, whatever. She was like, "What's your name again?" Da, 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 da. And like my sister was telling like, "Oh, that's my little sister, like Ariel, right?" And she goes, "That's too many syllables. That's just too much. For now, you Earl, okay? Earl. That's your name." And I was just like,
Earl's crazy.
So the whole time I knew her, I think I stopped seeing her frequently. Like, I don't know, when I was like 19, I was Earl. She never called me by my name.
Earl's crazy. That sounds like fighting words. Your name is too many syllables.
Yeah, she said it just take too much energy.
I mean, she definitely got a type of personality. Interesting. I'm trying to think. That's where the DJ came from.
Mm.
Yeah, how do you pronounce your, like, you know, the lady was just kind of like not, she was always on the edge. Always very much on the edge person. So when she decided to hear my name, what's your name? Because I was only helping out on a temporary situation anyway. What's your name? Najara. What? Najara. How you spell it? That's what they always get. That's how they always get messed up. Nadjara. The D is silent. I'm just gonna call you DJ. Anybody call you DJ? I said, you be the first one. Is it?
It makes sense though. When you look at the spelling and like, she was like, "You said DJ."
That works.
DJ.
That works. So I'm like, that I just, you know, I'm trying to think of all the nicknames. I got so many. Devin is a good one.
Wow.
Devin Boyd. Jared was a good one. That was a season I lived as a Jared. Jared Norris was my. Yeah, shout out to Jared. I used Jared when I didn't want to tell people my name.
I'm not gonna tell people what I use because I still use it.
I
don't want it out there.
I use Tyler now. I use that when I go to restaurants. Not because I don't want to tell them my name, just because I don't want to spell it. If I'm at Starbucks, what's your name for the cup? Tyler. I hate to say it. Can you spell that for me? Oh, that's a great name. Listen, it's business. Give me that coffee. I need a cold brew, vanilla cold foam, please. Tyler. Yes. Take my card. Not the. Can you spell that for me? Wow, it's a unique name. Is it from Africa? Can you set up the pen pad so I can pay, please? Can you please set up the pen pad so I can play? I don't got time. I don't got time to explain. Is it from African descent?
I know we're closing, but Starbucks took away their open door policy.
What does that mean?
So I guess for the last 6 or 10 years, you didn't have to purchase anything from them to come in and use their Wi-Fi, sit, use the bathroom.
Got it.
And now they're switching it starting, I think this month, you have to purchase something to use the bathroom, sit, use Wi-Fi.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. I just never knew that open door policy. I always just assumed you have to buy something.
Have you not seen the homeless people inside of Starbucks?
Yeah, but I also seen them give water out to like kids who's walking from school. So I just always thought it was just a nice thing they were doing. I didn't know it was like part of their policy. I thought they were being nice, like, oh, like they need somewhere to sit because they're home, their own house, you know.
I think it's obviously with discretion.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
But when you have people who are being like egregious, because my philosophy on that, and we might as well go into it real quick.
Okay.
My philosophy on that is like, if you can go and use somebody's establishment, whether it be for restroom, I might give you a pass. You know, because I get it. If you can't hold these, you know what I'm saying? What you want me to do? I'll go outside. But if you're going to use somebody's establishment as far as like Wi-Fi, the plugs, sitting in there having a meeting, and you're not going to buy something, please stop being ghetto. That is so out of pocket.
I did that one time last year when I was meeting with the youth. So I was waiting for her to come in. I was ordering something together. And she's like, no, I don't need anything. It was only an hour meeting, whatever. I was like, cool, like whatever. I'm trying to just get this out and go. The only time I felt bad was because they started passing out samples. I was like,
You gotta start taking the sample.
dang, I didn't purchase up to any of the samples. But
Zero. Negative.
yeah. But yeah, that was the only time I did that though. And it was only for hours, so I didn't feel too bad about it. But yeah, usually I just purchase something. Like one time I went, I don't know if it's Starbucks, but I need to use the bathroom somewhere. And so I just bought like one of their pre-packaged like sodas or something just so I can make a purchase. And I don't know, I just always felt that's what you're supposed to do. So I just always felt like, but I was just using the bathroom.
Some people don't have that. You know how many people, you know this, I'm going to say it. So many people that I, working with Hope.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that I don't see until the word free is used.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think about that a lot, like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Or how many people I see just stand at the coffee bar the whole service.
You know?
And they're just like refilling their coffee.
I'll give that a pass.
They don't engage with nobody or sit down or nothing.
I give that a pass. I think the more one that used to bother me was when we used to go to Old Soul and they'll buy the coffee. And people would come just to get the coffee and they'd be zoned out, not even listening. It's like, man, you can't even give us the You act like this was a what's that one thing called? You act like this was a timeshare meeting for you, bro. Like we just trying to tell you to come get the word.
I'm glad we stopped doing that.
I think there was some benefit to it, but I just
a lot of people learned about us and joined to do that, but also that aspect. So I think we only have like 2 a year now or something.
Yeah,
it's not all summer anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, man, get your money right, man. Respect the companies y'all working with. At least, like I said, I mean, I see now. Do it to the timeshare companies. I be hearing about that. They get a free vacation. Do it to them. They scamming people too. We scam the scammers. What's her name? Remember, that's another person I used to watch early on. What's her name? Something Diane the scammer. What's her name? The dude who used to wear the blonde wig.
Oh, I don't know.
If y'all know who that is, please put it in the comment section. Please, I can't remember. Please, if you made this far, thank you. I appreciate you. Of course, if you see her, that'll be your gift to me.
Wait, her name is Diane the scammer?
No, it's not Diane. It's something. It was a dude who used to wear a wig. Mm-hmm. He was talking about something to scammer, and he would give quote unquote motivating advice on how to scam.
Wow.
How women to scam men. And I used to love it. Somebody just recently said, Quincy Brunson said that was her motive. That was her motivator. That was who motivated her.
Wow.
Let me see who this is. I'll find it later. I'll tell you next. I'll tell you next podcast. But thank you guys as always. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so much. My name is Wuzi.
It's your girl Earoke.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll be back next week.
Subscribe to all our channels.
Peace.
You're my special friend.